they make this animation. It makes me look like I'm wearing lipstick, which I'm not. Although... Hello, America. Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. It's Ask Me Anything night. It's a chance for you to question me with boldness. The White House never calls to ask any questions, but maybe you can and would. Thousands of people send us questions all the time. We also have video messages. When we announced we were going to do this show, we're going to do our best to answer as many of the questions as we can this evening, but really thousands of them have come in. We have a studio audience here that's raring to go with questions, so let's get to it. Steven Crowder is a Fox News contributor and comedian and a very, very funny guy, is here to ask the questions.
We've compiled a list of the top 5 most asked questions sent into askglennanything@gmail.com, and the most popular by far so far is about this little thing, healthcare reform. You guys might have heard of it.
Really? They're talking about that?
Yeah. So we're actually going to start off with one of our audience members here. Kathleen has a question for you.
Hi, Kathleen.
My question is about the paradigm shift that you talk about.
Yeah.
You talk about it a lot, but could you kind of explain what you mean by the paradigm shift and which way you think it's going? Because it could go
I'm not really sure.
ways.
I'm not really sure. Do I have a blackboard here? Yes. I'm not really sure exactly. I started saying that about a year and a half ago, or maybe a year ago, that the paradigm is about to shift. And what I have said is everything that you thought was solid will be liquid. Everything that you thought was liquid would be solid. When I first started saying that, I didn't know exactly what that meant. It is becoming more and more clear to me that, for instance, let's use the New York Times. We all grew up reading the New York Times or avoiding the New York Times, and they set the news agenda. Soon, that will not be the case. Whether they go out of business or they're absorbed and made into Pravda by the federal government, I don't know. But everything we thought we could count on, everything we thought we could trust, for instance, if I would have told you this, I don't even know, 10 years ago, what do you trust? For many of us, we had distrust for our government. We had distrust, and we should have a healthy distrust, but we should also have a healthy trust of the people in Washington. Now, do you really trust the administration? Do you trust either party? Do you trust the court system? Do you trust the Congress, either house? What do you trust? I still trust the police officers, and I still trust our military. But other than that, I'm really fresh out of things. So the things that we thought we could count on growing up are all changing. And we just have to think out of the box to be able to survive. Because only those who look at the exits when they're going on the plane and go, okay, there's an exit back there, I got it. Only those people are going to survive. Think the unthinkable.
All right, Glenn, well, let's actually go to one of your viewers from Georgia who sent in his question as a video message.
Hi, Glenn. My name is Sam Schlam from Atlanta, Georgia. And I'd like to know how we, the American people, why can't we have the opportunity to vote for the health care bill on this year's midterm election ballot?
Okay, I don't know if that was like a gator in armor behind him, which was weird.
Creepy.
It was a little creepy. Okay, here's, it's easy to say that we should have our vote for the health care bill or, leave it to the American people, but that's not our system. That is exactly what the progressives have told us we have a system of democracy. Our founders all said, democracies always fail. We are a republic. And I used to think, when I was stupid, I used to think that there was no real difference. I get it. I remember saying that time. I know we're a republic. What's the difference? There's a huge difference. In fact, the referendums, for instance, Proposition 8, do you know where that whole idea of having different bills brought up for people to vote directly? California, progressives. It was progressives because there was corruption, and the progressives came in and said, democracy is a better idea. And they started these things where you could vote on them directly. That goes against what our founders wanted, and it was a progressive idea. Yes, Stephen.
All right, well, the second most popular topic was the census. People kind of want to know the ins and outs of this thing, just like this one that was sent in from a woman named Annie B. No last names.
I know.
These emails. I don't
Witness protection program.
I don't know what their problem is.
I know.
But she says, I received my census today and really don't feel that I should have to give them all of the information they've asked for. How much by law, if anything, do we have to provide?
You know, I have to tell you, I met the head of the census. I was on Fox and Friends one morning, and the head guy of the census walked by me, and then he stopped and he came back and he said, Glenn Beck. And I said, yes, sir. And he introduced himself and he said, you will be getting a census form and you will be filling it out. And I said, oh, will I? We have a census form at our house that we just got. I am going to answer the question, how many people live in your home? Period. That's it. That's everybody has to make their own choice. I mean, the one question there that, you know, people are like, well, maybe I'll give them the phone number. Go ahead. Give them your phone number. I've had friends who have answered it, and they, honestly, these are people who are real hardcore libertarians and know the Constitution inside and out, and they were spooked by how many phone calls they got and how aggressive the government got on answer the question, answer the question, answer the question. I will tell you this, I mean, I think y'all have to answer it yourself. That's what the Constitution calls for. They have added these questions, you know, and we've been answering all of these questions, the 10 that they're sending out for quite some time. My problem is the government wasn't out of control 10, 15 years ago. I was just trying to figure this out, you know, and we shouldn't have done it in the first place. But now that we're seeing how much they're gathering, no, I'm a stickler on the Constitution now. Stickler. Appreciate you fitting in that word. It's a good one.
Well,
extra $10 every time I stick it in.
There you go. From Webster.
Yeah.
They're trying to push it. Yeah. The next hot question we have here was actually on your Refounders effort. This one is from Harry K., Redondo Beach, California. A while ago, you were looking for 56 men and women in Washington to be Refounders. My recollection is that the number got up to 10. How is the project coming along?
The Refounders project is one of the more sad, tragic things I have seen, because we're only looking for 56. We have 11. Out of all of the people in Washington, we have 11. But I will tell you, those 11, I don't even know who they are, but we get phone calls. Where's Joe? Joe is my chief researcher and head of chief of staff. How many calls do you get from the Refounders a day?
6 to 7.
6 to 7 different tips a day from these 11 people. And they have been responsible for many things on our show and exposed many, many things. And let me make a plea to anybody in Washington. I mean, 11 will stand with the morals and the credibility of these men. Only 11? We're looking for people on both sides of the aisle that will just say, look, this corruption is bad. America will support people. I mean, the Tickle Fest was a bit too far, but America will support people who have been part of the system and want out. They just want out. If you're doing it for the right reasons, please contact us. Like I said, I don't even know the names of the Refounders. One guy does. One guy. He's the most honorable man I know. Please contact us and let us help you get out of this system. Help refound America.
We're going to go to another audience member. Jane has a question for you.
Hi, Jane.
Hi. In light of all the negative things going on in Washington, in our nation, and in the world, what positives can be pointed to? And specifically, what should America and its younger generation in particular remain optimistic about?
I grew up in Seattle, Washington. And I remember when I moved to Phoenix, Arizona, I mean, Seattle is cloudy 310 days out of the year. You don't see the sun for 310 days a year. It's amazing. And I remember when I moved to Phoenix, I actually stopped. I was walking out of my car, and it's like 400 degrees there. And I was walking out of my car, and I looked at the shadow, and it was so dark and so crisp. I had not seen shadows like that. Growing up in Seattle, you know, there's no real shadows. And I remember walking to the car and seeing that and kind of just seeing the definition of my shadow. Years later, I remembered that. And this is what you have hope in. The shadow can only become dark. Darkness can only be there because the sun is so bright behind you. As that darkness gathers, light is getting stronger. I am convinced that this idea of faith, hope, and charity, that Americans are going to, just like they did with the tea parties and everything else, you know, remember a year ago, everybody thought they were alone.